Staying with that story, we are now joined on the line by founding president of the African People's Convention, APC, Themba Godi, and he joins us via our telephone line for his tributes to Ndade Pheko. Mr. Godi, thank you so much for your time this evening here in SABC News. I mean, quite saddening news coming in. What is your tribute to Ndade Pheko's legacy?
Thank you very much for having me. I was quite saddened to get the news of the passing away of Dr. Pheko. Very untimely, least expected. What can we say? The man has suffered and sacrificed for the cause of Africa. One thing for sure about him was his passion. He was very passionate. He was a very passionate and energetic man about justice, about the land question, about history, about Pan-Africanism, about Sobukwe, and the need to recognize all those people who have contributed to the struggle, but who, because of their Africanist leanings, tended to be put on the periphery of the historical narration of the struggle. He was a writer, he was a reader. Yes, he was a passionate man.
And Mr. Godi, you sound very emotional during this time, and I'd like to say condolences to you too on the passing of Dr. Pheko. At the same time, perhaps if you could just share just your fondest memories of Dr. Pheko that will stay with you, especially throughout your activism as a politician.
Well, I have served with him for almost a decade, and one thing for sure is that he was unrelenting. And you need to recall that he grew up at a time when Pan-Africanism was demonized by both the oppressors and some sections of the liberation movement, who treated it as an anti-white outlook. And Pan-Africanists were accused of wanting to drive white people into the sea. So it was a very, very hostile environment within which he grew up and we grew up. And thus his tenacity and his passion in defending and advocating for the Pan-Africanist cause. But the other side of him that many people didn't know was outside the debates and the hellebelly of politics. He was a very gentle person who, had enjoyed, laughter, very easygoing, and he was an easy person, beside the hard political men that the public, came to know. He had a lot of stamina. He never tired to work or to preach the gospel of Pan-Africanism. He was a very energetic person, I must say. And, having worked with him over these years, sometimes the dust of the moment does not give you the perspective that time does. When one looks back now at the time we spent together, debating, discussing, fighting, one thing that shines throughout it's his passion and commitment to Pan-Africanism, to the ideals of Robert Sobukwe, to the ideals of Kwame Nkrumah, to the ideals of Marcus Garvey, which are the bedrock of what the African stood for. I think if there's anything about him, is that his views were never in doubt. He always expressed his views very clearly, very firmly. There is no room for misinterpretation of what he stood for. And it's so sad that people like him, of his generation, have to pass, because the wheel of time keeps turning all the time. But he belongs to that generation that really fought when it was darkest, and he stood the test of time.
Mr. Godi, thank you so much for sharing that insight and those memories with our viewers here on SABC News. That is Themba Godi, President of the African People's Convention, speaking there and sending his tributes to the families of Dr. Pheko on his passing. He passed away last night at the age of 93.